So good evening. My name is Lex McMillian, and I've been asked to just do a few opening remarks and do some introductions. I'm a member of the board in my 6th year. A great privilege and a great awakening for me to serve on the Rescue Mission Board. Doesn't seem to be working, or am I not close enough? All right. Is that better? I see one of these out here. Well, I have hearing aids too, so that distorts my sense of how well I'm speaking. So I'm Lex McMillian. I'm a member of the board in my 6th year, and it's been a great privilege and an honor to serve on this board and to learn so much about the great work that it does in the community. My job is simple tonight. I want to, number one, reinforce the comment about our string group tonight, and that was very enjoyable. And I can't help but notice that the director, Krista Creel, is the daughter of our former board chair, David Dunn, for many years. So I know he's got to be proud of his talented daughter and the others. And also join me in thanking Jake Schindel, Ragged Edge Catering, who's providing all of our food tonight. Thank you, Jake, back in the kitchen. I'm going to introduce our other board members and would ask each of you to stand momentarily when I call your name. Juliet Sharrow is our board chair. There's Juliet. Dwayne, let's hold to the end. How about that? In the interest of time. Dwayne Piper is our vice chair. Dwayne's right here. Aaron Smith is our treasurer. Aaron over here. Deb Reinhardt's our secretary. Thanks be to God. That was my former job. Ruth Blinn, another member. Ruth. Sean Abma over here. Jan Altoff over here. Jan. Tom Powell. There's Tom. And yours truly. Okay. Now I want to introduce the executive staff. Will Hudson, our executive director, who you will hear from shortly. Paul Henderson, who's not able to be with us, but I want to recognize him. He's our recently arrived director of men's ministries and doing a really transformational job for us, working with the men at the mission. Jennifer Punchard, I know is here, Agape House director. Jennifer, Jen. Heidi Acker, promotion and development director. Heidi. Vicki Felix, our office manager and bookkeeper. Connor Sharrow, director of retail sales. Jill Herbert, life skills coach. Jill is with us, right? Did I see Jill? There's Jill, yes. Life skills coach at the Agape House and works with family ministries. Sarah Brady, administrative assistant, right here. Okay. And Joe Keitt. Joe Keitt, I know is here.
Big Joe.
Big Joe. There's Joe back here. He's our food service manager at the mission. So, round of applause for all the hard work people. I hope some of you recognize an aged photograph right when I had a beard, but I do a monthly column in the paper, and I've just done my 52nd one, trying to tell the story about what happens at the mission. And it's always gratifying to me when 1 or 2 people a month will say, I read your column. I said, somebody read it. But anyway, for me personally, it's been a ministry and a real blessing and deepened my sense of appreciation for what happens at the mission. And I hope deepen my sense of compassion and understanding for all the ways in which people's lives can get turned upside down. So it's been a great blessing and a privilege. So now I'm going to ask for Will Hudson to come up and make a few remarks. Will, over to you.
All right, thank you, Lex. I'll tell you what, Lex is an amazing source of wisdom for our board. We have an incredible board, a cross mix or a cross hatch of our community that just brings so much to the table. Incredibly supportive, incredibly knowledge, a great source of wisdom, and I more than appreciate them. Thank you. Thank you. Now for a little bit about me. This is embarrassing. I get to talk about me, right? The Will Show, as Connor calls it. So certainly I want to welcome you all. I really appreciate you coming. It shows your commitment to our community and what we stand for at ARM. So I want you guys to know that I have the absolute best job on the planet. I get to be a pastor. I get to be a business person. I get to be a public relations guru, believe it or not, right? No? My wife's like laughing. She's got her head in her hand. Like, what? I get to be a maintenance man. Actually, I enjoy that sometimes. And I get to be a referee, oftentimes, between things. But I also get to represent my amazing, amazing staff. This staff is part of the reason I took this position. That and looking in the eyes, I fell in love with the men and women that we help. And I got to a point where it just tugged on me every single day. I couldn't not get involved. And from my chair position on the board, I was so excited, and we're moving things forward, and I'm like, I gotta get in here. I gotta get my hands in here. I gotta take this opportunity. And I asked the board if I could put my hat in, and I stepped down, and we went through a whole process, and I got to jump in there. But let me tell you who I am. Those are things that I do. Who I am is first and foremost a servant of God. And I try to represent that. And I live most of my life not representing that. I represented myself. And I came to the end of myself about 12 years ago. And God really snatched me up and changed my entire life and outlook. And he gave me a love in my heart bigger than all outdoors. I'm a husband to my wife, Allison. Probably one of my most difficult tasks. She leaves her socks right next to the laundry thing. I'm like, what's going on? And then she comes home and watches TV aimlessly for like an hour or so. Doesn't even say a word. And then she drags me to events. And I have to dress up right when I got home from work. That's all me. I do that for her. Thank you. You are a source of strength. So, anything I do wrong, blame her. Or tell her, and I'll get it when she gets home. It's kind of like the death thing. I'm a grandfather, and I'm a father. I put on my notes here, I'm a father to 4 spawn. Not children. They are full grown, and they're amazing. They're amazing. And these grandchildren, oh my gosh, these little amazing human beings that just grab your heart, and you can spoil and feed them tons of candy and then send them home to get even with your kids for what they did to you. And I'm a warrior for hope in our community. Hope for change. Hope for restoration. So often we see hate. We see discord. We see hurt. And I'm a warrior to change those things, regardless of what that looks like, what grain I have to go against. Some people call me defensive at times, and sometimes I can be. And there's certain things I will defend. And that's sharing love and hope with people. I am extremely passionate about this. So the mission of the mission, as I took over in November, so I've been here 6 months. I think, was it the 6th or was it the 9th? I can't remember. I'm dyslexic. So one of those days I took over, so it's been 6 months. The most rewarding work I've ever done in my life. I've gotten to rub elbows with county commissioners, pastors, community leaders like yourself. And I thank you. I thank you for giving me the time. A new guy who knows nothing except a desire to help people who've lost all hope. And I have an amazing team that digs in there. We talked about Paul Henderson. Paul Henderson's our men's ministry. He's our men's ministry leader. And working with Paul has been amazing. We've seen men who refuse to shower, men who refuse to take care of themselves, men who barely talk, take showers, participate in group events, go to the doctors. It's been so incredible. My team, Jenny Puncher, just today, I went around and I did room inspections over at the Agape House, checking on things, see how everyone's doing, mostly to get my feet wet there, shake things up a little bit, but I wanted to see what was broken in their apartments, what needs fixed, what are the little things we can get ahead of. And we have 2 couples there that fell through the cracks. I have 10 minutes. Right, Lex? Okay. So my board gave me 10 minutes. They said, Will, you talk too much. So I'm talking with these 2 couples in particular. They're special needs couple, and they fell through the cracks. Had Jenny not found a way to bring them into the Agape house, they would have been split up. They're special needs couples, and they couldn't find housing for both, but one apart from each other. It would have been incredibly difficult. But they have a hard time cleaning. They have a hard time keeping up with their apartments and things like that. And part of our program is learning those life skills. And they really have a hard time doing it. So what we're going to do going on, talking with Jenny, just in this little thing, this is just a little glimpse of what we do. And it sounds so simple. We have a cleaning lady who's absolutely amazing, and she's about $50 an hour, which is an outstanding rate. Instead of having her clean, what if we had her coach for an hour and paid her $50 to ensure and walk back and forth between these 2 apartments? Now I want you to pick this up. Now I want you to scrub. Here's how you do it. And continue to go over this where it becomes habit for these folks. It's not doing it for them. It's partnering with them to help them. This is the small glimpse of hope that we bring so that they can eventually go on and get their own apartments and not get kicked out for those things. So Jenny, thank you. Jill, those things are awesome. This is why we do it. This is why we do it. Our flywheel. These are the things we do over and over again to keep us on track, to keep us doing what we're supposed to do. Number 1, as a mission, we share the gospel of Jesus Christ, unapologetically. Does that mean we put other people down because they don't believe what we say? Does it mean we turn people away? Does it mean we show hate? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. How is the gospel shown? You can preach it, and you can say it for the word that it is. That's wonderful. But if you don't act it out, are you really sharing the gospel? And this is what my team does. We act it out. I don't care what your skin color is, what your preference is, what those things are. We're here to love on you and help you get to a place where you can find restoration, whatever that looks like for you individually. And that's what my team does day in and day out. They're amazing. The next thing is donor relations. It's so important to us. One, that we can partner with you in some way. We're not always taking. We work with you. We work with the community. We have guys who need things to do and are strong and want to learn things, and they want to rub elbows with people and get to know people and create their own little areas of influence, and they can come and help. So we do that. We go and help at different functions. We go and help at different things. We're not always taking, but also keeping our donors informed on what we're doing and how we're doing it. Being extremely transparent and letting you see what's on the inside. And you're welcome to do that anytime. The next thing, engaged community. We not only engage in the community, we engage with the community. We want to know what those community needs are. The community needs of 20 years ago are not the same needs that we're facing now. Do you know that homeless single women is on the rise? And there's no place in our county for them to go. The Agape house is full, and that's really for families. The men's shelter is a dorm situation. Where do the women go? We had a woman dropped off in our parking lot at 6 a.m. We found her about 8, camped out in our parking lot. My team worked tirelessly to find her a place to go. Every single one of them stopped what they were doing, got on phones, and started calling. We have to address that issue. But being engaged in the community allows us to do that, allows us to know what these issues are and how they're changing, to work with Ralph over at the Community Foundation, to work with CARES, to understand what's going on. We are not an isolated island. We may see things differently and we may have different niches, but we're all here to serve our community, and we have to humble ourselves to do that. Enabled staff. This is a huge one. My staff, I have to give them the power and control to handle their areas of influence. And I have to give them the education and the tools that they need to do it. Not only that, I have to pay them a competitive wage. Expecting my staff to work for $7 an hour, while the same type of job down the road at Target pays $13 to $14 an hour is wrong. Just because we're a nonprofit, does that mean? So it's my job to try to figure these things out. And how do we do that? How do we raise money? How do we do that with our donors? How do we do it on our own? So we're continuing to do that. We need to ensure that our staff is empowered to do the things that they need to do and fight the battle that we fight every single day. And the most important, after sharing the gospel, is resident restoration. Our focus is not on enabling homeless people to continue to be in the system, to continue to follow the system, to continue to pull from the system. It's to ensure that our people in the areas where they need can be subsidized, but in the areas where they don't, we can empower them to gain that restoration, to get a job, whatever that looks like, to get some education, to go after those things. And it's different for every single person. And between Jenny and Jill and our team and Paul and Vicki and my Connor over here who handles all our retail sales, these are all things that they're doing to go after that, to ensure this is what our focus is. Our focus is not on recycling. We do recycling. It's not that. Our focus is on restoring and helping these people become restored. And we surely believe that the hope that is found in Jesus Christ is that same hope that these people can see. They may not know where it comes from. We do. My hope is that they come to me and say, hey, what's different about you? What's different about your organization? What's different about this? And I can tell them about Jesus all day long. But in the meantime, I'm going to show them Jesus as much as I can. And my wife will tell you I do that all the time, all day long. That's a joke. You guys can laugh. I'm so far from it. She knows I'm a train wreck. She's awesome. Anyway, there's a couple of things, and I have to look at my schedule here. Heidi, am I staying on track? Am I doing okay? What's next? So I'm going down here, and as she said, to flip to the back page. That's in my notes. So as we look in the back page here, there's two things I want to touch base on. One, please remember we have the upcycle. It's not upscale. It's upcycle, kind of this little play on recycling, right? We have that coming up, and that's our auction and fundraiser. So please, there's a QR code there. You can log into that, and you can get a ticket and become part of that. It's going to be a pretty amazing event, and it'll tell you everything you need to know about that. And then the other thing we have is our golf tournament coming up. So that's a big one coming up for us. Something else I want to talk to you about is our newest initiative, and this really has been derived from, how many minutes have I gone, Lex? Okay. We're good, I'm pushing. Lex is like, oh, you're in trouble. So, I'm talking fast. I know. I want to talk to you about our Restored Hope initiative. This whole thing is about restoring hope. And the basics of our Restored Hope initiative on what we found, being engaged with our community, talking with our donor partners, those types of things. They're threefold. And one of those is low-income housing. I am so proud to say, in 6 months, we raised over $600,000, and we purchased our first apartment building. Currently, it's 3 apartments and 1 dentist office on 150 Chambersburg Street. Yeah, go ahead, commit. Some very, very wonderful donor partners stepped up in a big, big way, along with the rest of you, enabling us to continue the operations and things like that. And there is 0 debt, and we're converting this over to low-income housing. And this is part of our Restore Hope initiative. In our community, it is so lacking. We get so many people through with housing vouchers and no place to go. Okay, I'm a pretty basic guy. I pick things up and put them down. So what do we have to do? We just got to find places. So if you have places, give them to me. If you know of places, sell them to, all those things. So we have to look at problems in this way. We can't look at them then as being insurmountable. They're not. Our God is huge. We hope big, we dream big, and we plan big. We think big. So that's what my team does every single day. Hope big, Plan big, dream big, and think big. So we're going through that. The next part of this that we really believe is an issue, and I talked about it briefly and touched base on it, is a woman's shelter. Now, I've had my eye on this little church across from the butcher block, and I'm just praying that somebody gives it to us. If anybody goes there, please give it to me. It's not that I want to, raise all kinds of property and stuff. I want to help people. You can keep it. Just let me use it. I'll help people. So that's one. Homeless women's shelter, to get them in there, help them get back on their feet, help them get their kids back, help them make the right decisions, and work with them. And then the last one, to empower women, childcare. On average, it's $200 per week per kid. $200 per week, and you're making $13 an hour. Now, common sense would tell you, if you're making $13 a week, don't have kids. I was a young Marine, and I have 4 children, and we didn't have enough money to go to the movies. So, that's a joke. You can laugh. No, there is something to be said. When you don't have an education, you don't understand those things, you look for the simple pleasures in life, and you make silly, silly mistakes. Does that mean you have to pay for it forever? Which in turn leads to your children being in the same trap, which in turn their children become in the same trap. So how do we work with these women and empower them to go to work, to get education? And those would be the criteria to meet one of our plans in order to supply affordable daycare. You would have to have a job and or be enrolled in technical school or college or something that's going to help you better your life in order to meet the standards to help you with daycare. These are things that will empower women to change this cycle that they've been in. And we feel very passionate about that. So part of this Restore Hope in our community and where we feel we are responsible and led are in these areas. So as you think about this, and you're talking, and in these little programs here at the very back, the whole biggest page is a QR code, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I want to show you and give you some time to actually meet some of the families that we've helped, between a family and a gentleman. So I'm going to have my dear friend and brother in the war come up here and just tell us a little bit about his story of restoration, if that would be okay. Joe, could you come on up for a minute? Unlike me, Joe, I'm going to put a timer on you so you can go. So.
Joe. I'm 6'5", I can't keep it short.
You need that fixed?
Okay, please bear with me, I'm a little nervous.
Get your face in the mic, brother.
Sure, this over. Okay, March 31st, 2023 is when I came to the mission. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. I'm 36 years old. I came to the mission, more specifically to Gettysburg, for a fresh start. I got to a point, and through a lot of doings of my own, more especially my past, I got to a point where I couldn't walk out of the house without having to look over my shoulder because I didn't know what was waiting for me around the corner. I came to the mission, and I remember at the time, our director at the time, Bruce, I sat down with Bruce, and Bruce asked me a simple question: what are you trying to accomplish? Bruce said, I just want a fresh start. I just need a fresh start. And we sat, we talked about our goal, like what my goals would be and the time frame for those goals. Obviously, things are falling into place at this point. Maybe it's not as fast as I would like them to. But it's still progress. I feel like I'm in a better position today than I was 12 months ago. I came to the mission, started working in our recycling center. that lasted about 2 weeks. I was granted the opportunity to help out in the kitchen, just working as a dishwasher, and it's like, okay, I love to cook. So this was like right up my alley. I remember speaking with Ron, our food service manager at the time, and me and Ron, we spoke maybe like 45 minutes to an hour, and he explained to me, he's like, hey, I'm looking to retire. Really? Okay, so I'm thinking, how does it apply to me, okay? He takes me down to Bruce, and he says to Bruce, I think I may have found my replacement. Bruce, knowing me for maybe 10 days at the time, I watched Bruce in front of me take the resumes that he had, looking for Ron's potential replacement, and throw them in the shredder. We're gonna see how this works out. Those were his exact words. Trained under Ron for a couple of months, and it was an eventful couple of months, I'll say. But I made it through, and I'm still standing. And that is more so like the point of my stories. And that's just a small example, like the things that I've gone through, I'm still standing. And it's days that I have, and I think like, well, why me? What makes me so special? What sets me apart from another person? And then I have to remind myself that I serve an awesome God. And no matter what life has in store for me, he'll just remind me or tap me on my shoulder, Joe, I got you. You're in good hands. So for that, I'm eternally grateful. For the mission, I'm eternally grateful. If it weren't for the mission, honestly, I probably wouldn't be standing here today. And that's God's honest truth. My time during the mission, I've experienced a lot of firsts. I'm almost embarrassed saying this, but I'm 36 years old, and I had my driver's license for the first time in a couple of weeks. Even during the time where I came in under Bruce's leadership, and we went through a transition period about 6 months ago. That's when Hudson stepped in and pretty much, like he said, shook things up. And it was a transition period there, especially myself along with other residents didn't like change. And it was a lot of nights we were grumbling, like, who do they think they are when they're coming in and making us move around? And I took a step back and I thought about it. It's like all change is not bad change. Nobody is the same person that they were 20 years ago. There were changes that were made to get you to this point today. And it takes for you to welcome that change. So honestly, in the past few months, I've probably become the biggest advocate for our guys as well as our staff. A lot of times I'll act as that buffer, and it's a humbling experience because, again, 12 months ago I was working in a recycling center. So I'm blessed and grateful for the opportunities that Bruce and Will have both provided me with. I remember sitting down with Will his first week, and he asked me, he calls me Chef. I feel like I earned that name at this point. He's like, what do you need for you to continue to do your job? And I'm thinking equipment. I'm like, I'm okay on equipment. I have everything I need. But I can do more than just prepare food. So if it's a way that I could pick up more responsibilities to make that transition easier, let me know. And I can say he's giving me all I can handle. But I'm grateful for it. I truly am grateful for it. I'm grateful to be able to represent 24 guys that we have at the mission currently. I'm grateful for being that source of advice. It's a humbling experience when you have a man twice your age come to you for advice. And it's still one of those moments where it's like, well, why me? What makes me so special? And then God jumps in and he's like, look, I put you in this situation, one, to teach you a lesson, but also to teach someone else a lesson. And for that, it's just truly a humbling experience. This sounds cliche, but when I say I owe Adam's Rescue Mission my life, I mean that. I mean that with everything in me. We're standing up, so that's probably my cue to wrap it up. But one of my, just real quick, and I'll get out of everyone's hair.
You didn't want to talk, remember?
Yeah, he's making fun of my bald spot.
One of my goals.
Wait to do this all day.
One of my goals, obviously, once I transition out of the mission, is to continue to live in Gettysburg and just live a peaceful life. And more importantly, move my son here from Baltimore. My son's 11 years old. He's literally a miniature me. It's hard disciplining you out of your child. But that's my goal. I feel like I'm rambling at this point, but thank you for allowing me to speak, and thank you.
Joe's become an absolute invaluable leader within the mission, being a resident, guest, and staff now. He handles a lot of our chapels. He handles a lot of the group situations with the men. He's able to relate to them in a different way, especially the new ones coming in. So we have these stages and steps, and Joe has certainly stepped up. We are so proud of him. There's two things he wants to do in life. One, well, certainly get his son here, and we're going to work on that. That's coming up shortly, as soon as he's out, and he's getting there. The next two things that Joe wants to work on, one is getting his degree in theology so that he can become a pastor. He's also toying with the idea of a food truck. So pastoring and food truck, I see, hey, I can see those two going together really well. And I know Pastor Dan Creel would see that going well together as well. He's on search of good food trucks. But Joe, you're amazing. You've been awesome. The hope restored in you from the first day I saw you. Again, when I asked that question, what do you need to be successful? You know, and you were, well, I got this. My oven's a little bit wrong. Okay, that's great. We can fix ovens. What about you? You know, so these are the questions, and they're the questions you're asking people now. You're asking others. This is what we talk about, restoration. Now I have a special story, and I can't cry because they're my favorite three girls on the planet, and certainly Mama Carmen. Carmen, I know you're busy on your phone, and you're sitting there. You're probably playing Candy Crush or something like that over there. And if you could come up with these three precocious young granddaughters, they're pretty amazing. Come on up, ladies. You don't have to, girls, but if you would like to, I'm right here. I'm right here with you. You're good. You're going to get Grandma to come up. Carmen has an amazing story. She took on her grandchildren. Her daughter could not have them at that point, or at this point right now. And Carmen was ready to retire, and she has some health issues and some mobility issues and things. And Carmen's like, I'm the only hope these girls have. So, don't look at me. Yeah, you can't look at me. She is the pinnacle of restoring hope. She is the pinnacle of giving hope to these three wonderful, absolutely amazing, animated. They act like they're shy over there, but they're far from shy. Granddaughters, and she's been absolutely amazing, bringing hope to their lives and what the Agape House has done for her to help her get there. And you guys have all supported this. So Carmen, please come up here. I'll fix this. She's a force to be reckoned with. You remind me of my grandma. So where do we need to be?
Yeah, I'm not too tall. I'm shrinking
But
as
you're
I get
vicious.
older.
Right in the mic there.
Right.
So you're good.
I'm so glad to be here with you guys today. I was not playing Candy Crush. Actually, I was reading something from the Bible, so that you know. I can tell you that I thank God because everything comes through God and from God. And I hope that tonight you can understand me because there might be a language barrier. I'm Hispanic, but all my life I spoke English. And I come from a country that they speak broken English. But I had a teacher that was from United States, and she always taught me. She was my favorite teacher. She would tell me, "Don't speak like that, Carmen. That's the wrong way of speaking. And you stop saying water. It's not water, it's water." And stuff like that, And thanks God for her. And I'm standing here and I can speak, a little bit of ours English, the correct English. Not the correct because they say it's not the correct one, right? Something like that I hear.
Sounds good.
Yeah, but thanks God for that. As I stand here, I can tell you that I thank God for Agape House. And to tell you the truth, I didn't even want to be there. Why? Because I felt that it was degrading to me. You see, to be in a shelter, you don't have to be a drug addict. You don't have to have problems. Probably you think you have everything at hand and everything, you are in control, you think. I thought I was in control because I always been a very independent person, although disabled, but very independent. And I wanted to do everything on my own. I didn't want to depend on nobody but God. But sometimes God have to teach us something. We always need somebody. Everybody needs somebody. And Miss Lauren, that's my community care health worker, she came to my house and she offered her services. And at that time, I was living in a place that was in a very deplorable condition. There was a lady across from me, my neighbor, she lost her marbles. And she opened all the burners in her stove. So we stayed from one day to the other. Those burners were, open. And me and my she wasn't there. She left those there like that. The burners, open. And me and my grandchildren were sleeping at the other building. And thanks God, nothing happened. But if that lady would have come and turned on a match, we would have flown to when the kingdom come. And many things, there was also a fire between the walls, and somehow the fire extinguished itself, and many other things. We had roaches in there, rats. I was the exterminator in that building, killing roaches and everything, and then he wanted to raise my rent too. He was a slumlord. I faced him. When he tried to raise my rent, I said, if you think you're gonna raise my rent, and I started reading the list of all the conditions in that apartment, you are not gonna do it to me. You're gonna find somebody else to do it, not to me. And when Miss Lauren came and I thought she learned about our condition, my grandkids and I, to tell you the truth, we couldn't sleep at night. There were neighbors that were so noisy, up to 5 in the morning when I needed to get up at 5:30 to get my grandkids ready to get to school because there's 3 of them. And everybody have to bathe and everybody have to dress proper to go to school. They were making noise. I would talk to the Lord. He didn't care. He said, they pay rent. I said, but I pay rent too. And all these conditions. When Miss Lauren told me about, I was looking for a shelter because I was tired. But when Miss Lauren told me, there's a better shelter than the one you're looking for, because this other shelter is called Bobby House, something like that. They would admit you in there, but they were not giving you anything freely. They were like, you come into our shelter, but you make an agreement with us, and you get a house, you buy a house. Your agreement is that you're gonna buy a house. Something like that, some kind of program, which is not bad, but I wasn't looking into that at the moment, And let me read you something that I was reading before. A friend loves at all times. A friend loves at all times. And a brother is born for adversity. And that's Proverbs 17:17. Now there's another one that says, a man, and this is Proverbs 18:24, a man of many companions may come to ruin, but there's a friend who sticks closer than a brother. You see, sometimes friends can act towards you better than family, and the Bible is always right, And let me tell you something that the Bible says it is true. And I have seen it in Agape. Since I came to Agape, although as I said at the beginning, I was refusing, I was giving Miss Lawrence Miss Lawrence, the last time she called me, I told her about the fire in the walls, and with the wiring, the electrical wiring, and the rats and oh my goodness. Carmen, what are you waiting for? I told her, I don't want to be in a shelter. I'm not in the street. I am not using drugs. I am not doing this. I am not. And she said, that's not the point. The point is you need a safe place to be with your grandkids. Finally, I said, she was almost in tears, and I said, I better do something. I decided to come to Agape. The first person I saw was Miss Jenny, and she told me everything. She explained everything to me. But I never thought that it would be this way. To me, it was like, this is too much. That's it. They provide you for, everything, for your bed, your food, your everything, But the most thing that I needed, that God knew that I needed in my life, was support. It was support. Because you see, when you go through these things, you see your grandkids like suffering. Bed bugs from where? The third floor person infested, and then the landlord don't come and tell us, protect yourself, do something. There's bed bugs in the building. See? And this have changed my life to the point where now I look at people in a different way. I'm less judgmental. Because sometimes you see, if she's in the street, if she don't have a home, it's because she's on drugs, or she's doing this, or she's doing that. No, you don't have to be doing none of those things to find yourself suddenly, because today you are right up there, but tomorrow you might find yourself at the bottom. And you don't never know when that moment is going to come. I felt safe in me providing a roof over my head for me and my grandkids. I can show you right now all the receipt that I had. I never missed paying the rent to this guy, and yet he didn't care. You see, when I came to Agape House, my spirit were very low. And I was going through trials, because that doesn't mean that, because, wherever you go, you will have trials in your life, one time or another. But I thank God for Miss Jen, like I call her Miss Jen. I thank God for Mama Jill, like I call her Mama Jill, And I thank God for Agape House staff, that they give me so much support. They cry with me when I needed to cry. And they would always be understanding. They will always be there to bring me to the hospital if I needed to come. Miss Jen had a tough time with me too, because I was so independent. I remember whenever Mama Jill would tell me, but Carmen, you need to do this and this. And Miss Jen one day told her, but she wanted to do it all on herself. She wanted to do it on her. No, she can do it. She can do it. She want to do it. Here she was giving up on me, but she never did. And I thank God for that. So Agape House Rescue Mission is a very important thing for the community. It might not be for us now. I have a home that I can call my home. And I remember this funny thing, whenever Miss Jen would tell me, well, you know, finally, you might get your forever home. At times when we were talking in the office, and I told her, don't call it like that, my forever home. That sounds like a pet, like you're looking for a home from. But now I understand. And let me tell you something. The experience that I lived there, I will never forget. I thank God that I found a friend, like the Bible said, that stuck with me through thick and thin, through good and bad. They stuck with me. And I hope to God, and I pray for Mr. Will, and I pray for Agape House, and I pray for the board, everybody there that I might not know, but I pray for everybody because I have this mission in my heart. And I feel like God have a plan. He have a plan. You might not know what the plan is, but God knows. You see, God knows the plan. And I think that the way you guys are working is the way to work, that you will never turn nobody back. That I always used to tell the ladies in there, listen, it's not them only, it's you. You have to put of your part too. Because sometimes you want to change somebody, but somebody does not want to change. And that's a difficult problem right there. So I hope that whatever we can do for Agape House, Mr. Wills know that since I got out from Agape House, I mean, God has provided so much for me. And all I ask God is to let me be a resource, a way to keep helping Miss Jen, Mr. Wills. Mr. Will, I know I owe you some stew chicken. Take it easy, it will come.
And rice.
But you're on a diet now, you can't.
She just told
No rice, no starches, nothing like that. And it's really so hard. But I want to, like I told Miss Jen, I told everybody, I'm going to live on my own, but I'm not living Agape. I will always text somebody. I will ask for favors still, because I don't want to live my family. I feel this is my family now, you see. And whatever I can do, the other day, some people from Beaver Spring, they sent a lot of stuff for the women's, because when I moved, they started helping me. It's a long story. I'm going to write it maybe someday, so you guys know what really happened. But it had been a long story. I had been involved with troopers. It's incredible the things God have been doing. When I moved, the guys from the mission were there moving me, but then there was a bunch of people, troopers that came there, and their big boss was there, and oh my goodness, I was like, God, what is this? Why? I don't deserve this much, you know. But let me tell you something. Gratitude will change all things. Because I remember this trooper that she's still with the girls, and she comes home and she brings this stuff and anything you need, anything they need or whatever. But let me tell you how she, and I'm gonna finish. But the way she got involved with us was because when she involved my kids in a program in school, she said the only parent that showed gratitude was me. And I praise God for that I have that in my heart, that I can be grateful. That's why I'm here tonight for Agape House, because I am so grateful. You know, I don't feel demeaned because I went to a shelter. It wasn't in my control. God knew why, and God have a plan. You see, and let me tell you something. She said the only parent that showed gratitude was you. And I needed to keep being involved with you guys. And she's here up to, yesterday she was at home. Jailene is going to camp, cadet camp, you know, and all these things are happening because of Agape House. Because she got to know the girls there. So I thank God for Agape House. And I thank you guys. I thank you guys that sponsor Agape House. And I thank Mr. Wills for being here, standing by me. Thank you very much. And I thank Jenny, Miss Jen, and everybody please, and sponsor Agape House and sponsor the program, you know? And God have a plan. Remember that, okay?
I don't think those girls realize just how much they have with this lady. And they will one day when they have ones of their own. They'll remember Grandma fighting for them. Never giving up on them. She, like I said, she's a force to be reckoned with. And these things are all possible because of you guys. The work that you guys do with us, whether it's walking alongside us, sharing your wisdom with us, sharing your funds with us, whatever that looks like in your life, that's what's possible. That's what the community can do. And it's our little part in it. And if we all want to work together and change this community, hey, I'm here. I'm all about it. Let's do it. Let's figure out how to do that. Heidi, where am I at? Where should I go? But I think it's time to recognize some people. Awards, perfect. All right, I'm getting here. I'm flipping through my awards notes and seeing exactly who to start with. I'm just wasting time while I find them. Oh, okay. Thank you for coming up here. We have our board chair. Thank you. Don't do that. Okay. So I have 10 minutes to do volunteer awards. And our volunteers are going to be receiving medals. And we have, for our volunteers here, we have Mr. Mike Flaherty. Now, Mike drives our, hey, Mike. Yeah, buddy, come on up here. So, Mike volunteers a couple days a week. If you've ever had your furniture picked up, Mike's the guy. Mike volunteers his time and drives our truck around and carries furniture up and down steps, out of basements, and he's just tireless. I mean, this guy is amazing. And he works with the guys. He'll take guys with him. And some of those guys are rough to work with at first. It's not an easy job. And this guy comes in and does it twice a week, every single week, and just kills himself doing it. And Mike, we love you, and I thank you so much. And if you come over here and see, you want to come out there and see Juliet, I would appreciate that. Mike, thank you. You are here. Outstanding. Our next is Susan Czeck. And Susan, she volunteers in our sorting room. Susan is one of she works with Connor Sharrow, and Connor is our director of retail sales. And he's been responsible for the Agape Boutique, adding that on, and then hopefully in a near future, some other ventures that we're going to go on. Adventures, I might as well just leave that in there because it's always an adventure. Heidi's always getting on me. So anyway, so Connor's going to accept this award on Susan's behalf. But Susan, again, here's another person. She's a nurse. She has tons of things to do, and she'll spend 2-3 days a week with us, coming out and helping and sharing her ideas and literally casing the neighborhood for great stuff to put in the Agape Boutique. So Connor, thank her for us. We love her to death. She knows that you're going to accept that award on her behalf. So Susan, we thank you.
I won't make you wear it, but you do have to shake my hand.
So this next one, and I mean, I asked this gentleman to do some of the most heinous jobs on the planet. One of those, and it was just before I started when I was on the board, and I think Bruce had reached out to him. He redid the bathrooms in the mission on the thing and literally scraped up floors, ripped up years and years of old plywood and things, and the guy just gets in there. He's worked over 300 hours last year on the mission. Right now, he's currently helping us open up some space and create some things. But this guy, literally a diehard, and will do anything. And if you shake his hands, it's like granite, like totally the opposite of Joe's. Joe's hands are the smoothest hands on the planet. But this guy's, we pick on Joe. He'll wear a white shirt and say, "Oh, I'm cooking today." He's not cooking. But anyway.
Always secrets away.
I love you, Joe. But anyway, this gentleman, we call him Dave the Man Myers. Dave, if you could come up here, your wife gives us the time. She should really be the one to get this. As much time as you spend with us, 300 hours. So there were a couple of folks who really stood up in our community and really helped us out big with donations to help get this place over $200,000 each. And they didn't want their name shared, and I cannot do that, but they know who they are, and our heartfelt gratitude to you for making a difference for years to come in people's lives. Now, one, on the other hand, he's a gentleman, Randy Smith. He had passed away, and he left us $113,000, which was a huge help. And his wonderful wife, Phyllis, she is here, and if Phyllis could come and accept this award in memory and on behalf of Randy Smith, Phyllis Doyle Smith, we are so thankful. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I look forward to partnerships in the future. You've been amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Now, this organization, represented by one of the finest men I've met, Ralph Serpe, and the Community Foundation, they have gone over and beyond, getting the awareness out of what we do, who we are, helping us certainly through the giving spree. Ralph, if you could please come up and accept our award for the Community Foundation. We've all been here. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I have a couple of churches here, and we have a lot of churches that help us. So please do not feel slighted in the least. Please come back next year. Your name's up here, I promise you, on these banners. These go in our, what we call our multi-purpose room. We took our chapel, and it was set up old school, like 1985. Bruce, I love you, man. But it was set up like 1985 church, and we changed it around, and it's our multi-purpose room, and the men use it for training, and we use it for meetings, and we allow other people to use it for meetings. But these banners go up in there so that we can honor you, all of you, anybody who's allowing us to put their name down. So now when you donate, we're going to be asking you if we can put your name down so you know where it goes. It goes on these banners for 2024, and we'll be honoring you in our building. Kind of like, you know, the old high school thing. You won states back in 1932 or whatever, your name will be on there. But it's so important for us to remember who we serve and who really owns the mission, and it's the community. And we'll continue to support it, and we'll support it well. But there's two churches I really wanted to stand out to receive an award, and these churches have been ones not only monetarily that have really helped out to make some change in some of the things we're doing, but also they come and serve, and they'll do chapels with the men. They'll come out and interact. So I invite other churches, please, if you can rotate or come up with crews that want to come out there, we'd love to have you. We'd love to host you and how you can interact with the men and women that we serve. It creates more contacts for them. It lets you see that the eyes of homelessness are not what you thought they were. And it helps those people see that there is hope out there. There are people who care about them. Now, again, all these churches have helped, and I am eternally grateful. So please don't feel slighted. But First Baptist Church, I believe Sean's here. Sean, are you here? Oh, perfect. Okay, and what's your name, sir? Matt, thank you so much. On behalf of First Baptist Church, we thank you. For being here. Okay, and then the other one, we have Gettysburg Foursquare Church. And then they've done a lot of those things as far as coming out and spending a lot of time with the guys. And they've put a lot of money into the Agape House. They're also working on a new project right now, which is our courtyard. Right now, the courtyard is a place where we put all our extra skids, a bunch of empty drums. It's like a dump. It looks like death. It's bad. It's really bad. It's bad. So they're coming in, and we're going to create a couple of patios. We're going to set up a pergola, some grilling areas, some picnic tables, some plants and trees. We can move around. We have a really beautiful plan, so that these guests, these resident guests of ours, they can go have a cookout. Mm-hmm. It's after hours. You and I can go have one on our back porch, and we love it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you're a human being. Go have a cookout. Let's use it. Let's sit there and read. What's that going to look like? Not only that, the responsibility of taking care of something. And trust me, Joe just told you, I shook things up. We hold people responsible because it's very important. My wife holds me responsible, or I'd be a train wreck. So we hold them vicariously. She holds them accountable because she expects that out of me. But no, it teaches those things, and those things are so important. When you're homeless and you're surviving, all that stuff goes out the window. You learn how to manipulate, you learn how to survive, you learn how to go against the grain, all those things. Little things like this change that. And I know, oh yeah, fluffy, food. No, I'm dead serious. The expectation is this. If you looked at the men's rooms now, they are clean, they are organized. They do not have extra things. They do not get to eat in their rooms. They do not, we have a place for that. And there's a reason. It's communal living. We love you, we thank you. We're going to create spaces for your freedom and those things, but these things, we have to keep this way. It keeps it in line, it keeps things clean, it keeps it organized, and it keeps us a level of care that we expect. And it's high. That level of care is high. So, anyway, I ran my mouth, and I'm trying to get Foursquare up here, and I believe it's Don Schmidt. There you are. I'm sorry. You ready? I'm here. So, thank you so much. Lex, you want to come on up a minute?
Somehow you managed to get ahead of schedule.
I did.
They don't have a schedule. Do they have a schedule in front of them?
No, they don't. They don't have a schedule.
Well, you'd be pleased to know we're actually ahead of schedule, which I'm stunned by. Only because I was flashing my arms back there a couple of times. Will did a great job, and let's give him a nice round of applause. And I don't have a lot more to say, except that I've had a number of tasks that I've happily performed as a member of the board at the mission, but I think the one I'm most proud of is that I chaired the search committee that selected Will. So that was a great task, a great piece of teamwork. Thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you all for your support of this wonderful organization and the people that make it happen. And that's it. Have a good evening.